This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Body Count, a history podcast where we gab about death and disaster through the ages, highlighting figures, single events, time periods, culture, whatever it may be that resulted in someone, or as usually the case, a lot of someone's dying. Again, I'm going to do it for 3 weeks. This is the second week. I'm doing away with our disclaimer because nobody listens to it based on my emails and feedback and reviews. Nobody ever got the gist anyway, so we're just going to horrify you real time and let it be a happy surprise. Yay! If you're good with all of that, I, as always, am your host, Jessica Manor, and I'm joined by only one of my lovely co-hosts today because the other one, is working and doing things, putting good out into the world. We're putting Body Count out into the world. So, co-hostess with the mostest,
Bethany Skeleton. And really quickly, enough about me. I could gab all day. But we do have a guest with us, and I'm a little biased because I think she's like the best over everyone that we've had, including just in life in general, because she is my mom. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Nicholson, and yes, I am Bethany's mom, and that's what everybody calls me, is Bethany's mom, because nobody knows my name. I am a high school teacher. This is my 34th year of teaching. I have a bachelor's in biology, a minor in chemistry, and a minor in mathematics. My master's is in physical science with an emphasis in chemistry. I am currently teaching at a very small school in Kansas called Kinsley Junior Senior High School. I teach mostly juniors and seniors, and 3 of my classes are concurrent classes with a local community college.
Damn, mic drop.
And I am very happy to be here.
Well, good. And what she's trying to say, she is freaking smart.
No, that would be Jessica.
That's basically it. Oh, nonsense. If you saw me in Organic Chem, you'd think very, very differently. I promise.
We just are smart.
I promise.
Areas, Jessica.
That is the truth.
Some people would argue I'm very, very special in particular areas.
Well, I know
Whatever. Yeah, we thought we would have a little family time. Guys, we are going to come back after Christmas with parts 3 and however many of Nancy Wake. My house looks like a war zone itself. It is just piles of Nancy Wake everywhere. It looks like I'm, been put in charge of the SOE, but that's not the case. Nobody would ever want that. I can barely handle this podcast. But we will be coming back with that. So we've got this in the spirit of Christmas and family. We've got this episode going to come out. And then we're going to do just a little fun episode, hopefully, that's going to come out the week of Christmas. Don't worry, it's not Black Friday. We've already been down that hole once, and we're not going back down it ever again. So look for those, and then after Christmas, we'll be back with our friend Nancy Wake, getting in the spirit of Nazi killing. I thought we'd wait to the new year for that.
We're gonna goose step our way into the new year by killing some Nazis, and
we are. We're going to run through the rest of Nancy Wake like Germany did Belgium. Not the worst thing I've said about anything that's happened in Belgium. So also, I am going to keep in with housekeeping. That's always going to stay. Sorry. If you love the show, go check us out wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate and review. Please, I know so many of you listen to this. I know because you always hit me up on Twitter and my emails. Please rate and review. If you want to be huffy about it, though, maybe don't and say you did. Give us those 5 stars if you like us. We love it. I'm not going to talk about it or get into it other than that, but we do have something a whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipe soon. I'm going to call it the Guestivus Festivus after we finish Nancy Wake in the new year. It's going to be so many guests because I have run out of things and material to talk about. I'm so far behind that I'll never give myself out of the hole. I'm just kidding. I've got plenty to talk about, but I need time to research. So we're going to have some other folks come and plug their work, because that's what we're good at, plugging everybody but ourselves. That being said, we've got all of that out of the way. So now we can get to the good stuff, the meat and taters.
Taters. And
the meat and potatoes.
This isn't just a regular backwards body count. This is a full, I don't even know what to call it. Around a 360. Are we doing a 360? I don't know, Mom,
because then we're back where we started. I guess we're doing a 180.
Yeah, because Mom, you're the math minor. What do we call this?
90-degree difference. We're in a corner.
And that's how math works.
I knew this was a brilliant idea. Yes, because my very own mother is going to give us a backwards 90-degree angle.
A 90-degree angle body count.
Well, I kind of got this idea when you guys did the first Killer Toys, because there was a lot of them on there that either my brother had, because he had the one where you put the gel in and cooked it and got the little creepy spiders. That stuff was rank smelling, made the whole house smell horrible. And the Easy Bake Oven that Bethany just went on and on about how we wouldn't buy her. There's a reason why we wouldn't buy it for you, is because everybody I know burned themselves on the stupid thing. And so if you were going to burn yourself, we're going to put you on the big girl stove and get your big girl stove.
Again, and what we're talking about, if you not listen to the backwards body count of Killer Toys, you'll have to scroll down a bit, but this is a continuation on that particular episode. Oh man, I swear, Mom, I still really, really wanted an Easy Bake. It wasn't the same going to the big oven. It just wasn't the same with the tiny cookies, and the little tray. Like, there was just something about it.
We could have used a little tray and made little tiny cookies, but you didn't want to make little cookies. You wanted to make giant cookies.
Oh.
And cheesecake. It's kind of hard to make cheesecake in the Easy Bake.
Yeah, you don't want to eat it anyway. I promise you missed out on nothing because you did not want to eat the stuff that came out of an Easy Bake Oven.
It tasted horrible.
It was gross.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. I ate it. No, I know. I'm glad.
I'm glad. The worst.
Thank you, Mom, for having a brain and not getting me an easy. Okay.
I got you plenty of other things that were weird, but I didn't get you that one.
No Easy Bake and no, carcinogenic plastic melting. I don't know what else. So short of those two things.
As we're going to find out with my research, I did do things that potentially could have harmed you, Bethany, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. And Mom, I just want to give you a heads up. I have not read through this beautiful outline of yours. I saw
this multi-page outline that I sent and did work hours and hours on.
No. Listen. And here's why. I immediately saw it and went, oh God, educational. And I sent it to Jessica and I knew she was going to drool all over it. So trust me, your outline did not go to waste, because I'm pretty sure Jessica called me afterwards and was just like, Oh my God, this outline is to die for.
It's got Oxford footnotes and everything, man. None of that Harvard stuff here. I did. I opened it up and it was like gold shot into my eyes.
Well, and Bethany's just glazed over, so it works out all right.
Sorry, Mom.
Love you, dear.
But I have it pulled up now, so we're gonna go through it.
Okay. So I want to kind of scan over the little introduction thing that I did. Most of my research, I used information from 2017 to 2019, mostly because 2020 is a waste. I saw something on Facebook. It says 2021, the year after the year that shall not be named.
Yeah, it is definitely the Voldemort of years.
There you go. And so I'm kind of over this year. I know we've got a few weeks left, but it's like I'm really just like, okay, it's time for this year to be over. I'm done with students being in quarantine. We've never actually closed the school yet, but I've had students who are in quarantine, so I'm running a classroom and I'm running Zoom, and it's just, I'm kind of done for this.
Yes. Over it. Hashtag over it.
Yes, exactly.
Hashtag over.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so in 2017, the Division of Hazardous Analysis reported 13 toy-related deaths and 251,700 toy-related injuries. I will say most of those toy injuries, I have a couple in here that I'm going to talk about, but most of them at the very end, I'm going to explain why I didn't talk about the majority of those deaths. Mostly because I didn't want to handle that controversy. So I'll get there at the end, but it's just one of those things. It's like, I don't want to go there. I have selected 8 specific toys to talk about today, and some of the toys may not have killed people, but there's some serious potential health risks because of these toys. And the first one, Bethany, you probably remember them, the fidget spinners.
Oh, my son, all 3 of the kids have fidget spinners actually currently.
Right. Well, here's the thing you might want to be aware of. They're not designed for children, which means they don't have to follow the hazardous material guidelines for children. So they tested some and found 300 times the allowable limit for lead.
Great.
Yeah. So there are some, this is kind of a severe issue because we in the United States have eliminated most of the lead paint in our country because of the lead poisoning of children. So what do we then do? We import toys that have high amounts of lead and say, here, play with these.
This is a great idea.
Here, Johnny, lick on this for a little while. There you go. Have some fun.
So
you can't lick the paint.
So as a scientist, I actually went to my Merck Index and I looked up all the side effects for this lead paint or this lead in the fidget spinner. So these are some of the things that it doesn't necessarily cause death, but it can cause some serious problems. Intracranial pressure, which means your brain swells.
Oh my God.
Convulsions may have permanent brain damage. Vomiting. You have an increased symptoms of weight loss, which, oh my God, I wish I'd thought of that a while back.
Mom!
Let's just eat those lead. That's not a good way.
Screw the keto diet. Just do some lead paint.
Just pop a fidget spinner in your mouth. There you go.
There you go. The public health in California, and I kind of take this with a grain of salt because I never trust what comes out of California, but they estimate that there are 1.2 million children in the United States that have elevated blood levels between 1999 and 2010, and it's not required testing by the doctors anymore. So it used to be when Bethany was a baby, one of the things they would do was test for lead to make sure there was no lead in her system coming from the house and the chips and the paint and all that. But we don't test it anymore. And I think that's a pretty strong problem. I think that if we're not going to check the toys that come in from other countries, then we need to start getting back into testing our children to make sure that their lead levels are staying within range.
Well, yeah, because honestly, it's the last thing I'm going to think about, because in my mind, I knew growing up that lead paint was a big deal and a lot of houses had it. And eventually we went around to where we don't produce it anymore. We don't, but that doesn't mean other places.
Well, it's a cheap metal. It's a cheap metal.
So
and
it's
so
like,
they'll use that as the base metal, and then they will plate it with something else. Problem is that over time, you playing with that toy, you wear off the plating part, and you're down to the lead. And we know it doesn't matter. Your kids put stuff in their mouth, and it's just the way it is.
And not only that, but
Johnny, play with this fidget center and get a lot of the same stuff that you would have if you had encephalitis or maybe a hemorrhagic fever.
There you go.
Nothing like lead. Yay. Increased intracranial pressure. That's what every parent wants to hear.
It's also shown that when very young children are exposed to lead, that it reduces their mental ability and to learn and process information. So it slows down their learning curve, which means that when they start school, they can't do the work that they're expected to do.
Well, and I mean, I'm assuming, because also when you said that the base painting eventually wears down and you're exposing yourself to that lead painting, even if the kid isn't licking it, their fingers are touching it. And we all know kids put their fingers in their mouths.
Not only that, this will absorb through the skin too.
So either way, you're screwed.
Win-win.
Win-win. Yay!
Yay. I'm glad that's not a horrible idea.
Are you ready for toy number 2?
Number 2.
Yes.
Toy number 2 is I picked the strong magnets. And these are little magnets. And 2 doctors at a hospital in Portland, Oregon, removed 54 small magnets from 4 children in 1 month.
What? Wait, this is in 2017?
Yes. Now, these are not normal magnets. These are these super strong magnets. So when they swallow them and they go into their intestine, these magnets will magnetize to each other through the intestinal wall. So it can bind up the intestine.
Yeah. We did talk about some of that. Yeah.
These magnets are 5 to 10 times stronger than a regular bar magnet that you use to pick up whatever. Yes, they're very strong. And there are some groups that are trying to ban these. My opinion, though, is that when they're dealt with correctly, which is in the school setting, they do have a very important purpose for showing certain physical properties of magnetism. So they have a purpose, but they shouldn't be around little kids who are going to eat them.
Look at you, Mom, being about a science teacher. Excuse me. Instead of eating that magnet, Sally, can I please have it for my lab tomorrow? Thank you.
Thank you. I need that one. Please, I don't want to wait 24 hours for it. Oh yeah, it's not going to come through because now it's stuck to the others. Now, I have interesting information about these magnets. They were invented by General Motors in 1982.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh. And they use them to attach things to the vehicles. That's why they're so super strong.
Well,
so somebody in the toy industry went, oh, look at these really strong magnets. Let's put them as toys.
So smart. The person that did that was genius.
In 1995, the Sheffield Children's Hospital reported 24 cases of these neodymium magnets. Those are the little tiny round magnets or the little tiny disc magnets in these places. They had to be removed. Are you ready for the list of places they went?
I don't know.
Yeah.
In the nasal cavity, up the nose.
The nose.
They went in the oral, which is the mouth.
Okay.
They went in the ears.
Okay.
They went in the penis.
What?
Children.
Can you imagine that? This little boy sticks this in there, and then he walks around. Now it's stuck to his zipper.
Oh no!
Oh God, it's not funny, but it's so funny.
Now trying to get this taken apart, and now her ring is stuck to it.
Oh God!
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Oh!
Now, why a little boy would stick something up there, I don't know. I wouldn't think of that, but I'm not a little boy.
Yeah, Mom, it's all the little boys have a fascination with what's happening down there.
It's always to hand, so I guess why not stick something in there?
There's a hole. There's a hole, right? That would work.
In the bottom of the sea. That'll work, right?
The magnet is a little bigger than that hole.
Just a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so from 2003 to 2006, 20 cases of magnet ingestion for children 10 months to 11 years were reported. 75% had bowel perforations. That means holes in the bowels. They had peritonitis, which is an infection because of the holes in the bowels.
Oh my God.
And had an average hospital stay of 8.7 days.
Holy crap.
Now,
oh my God.
in today's cost, I looked up what this would have, because this happened in 2003 to 2006, and we're obviously in the year that won't be named. So in Voldemort year, if they had to stay 8.7 days, it would be $7,000 per day. And that does not include x-rays, surgeries, or physical therapy.
Oh
my God.
And if you don't have insurance,
then you don't have to pay, but you also may not get the best care.
well, yeah.
Oh.
My God.
And the SDS, which is the safety data sheets, lists specific target organs toxicity and physical hazards as a rating of 3 out of 5. Because these are lithium batteries.
Oh my God.
These are not like regular magnesium or iron batteries. These are lithium batteries.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they're
Oh my God.
Yep. Okay, are we ready for toy number 3?
No.
Yeah, my mind's already blown, but let's do number 3.
Okay, this one, Bethany, is gonna hit close to your home.
Okay.
It's the slime kits, where you can make your own slime.
Okay.
All right. The European safety standards found 4 out of 4 slime kits that exceeded the level of boron allowed for children exposure.
What's boron?
Boron is an element that is used to make borax, and that's the key ingredient in making slime.
But what's boron? What is a key? I don't. So what else is it in? Why is it so bad?
Well, let me continue, and then maybe it'll be clearer, because it's an element. If you look at the periodic table, it's an element, and it is, I have to look, I don't remember the number.
Look at her wall, Jessica. She's looking at her wall.
5. It's element number 5. There, it's on the wall.
Wow, look at her wall.
I have a periodic table on my wall. Because why? Because I teach chemistry. Okay. All right. So they looked at some of those DIY slime kits, and the 2 main ones that they tested were the Rainbow Cosmic Slime Shakers, and found that was 75 times the European standard and had no warnings on the package. So it had 75 times more boron in the kit than was allowed by children, and it had no warning on the package that there was excess boron on there.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Yes. So ingesting moderate amounts to high doses can cause nausea and vomiting. Now, this is for people who work in the factories that make the boron powder, okay? So if they ingest it, so they get it on them, they lick their lips, or they inhale it, then they can cause nausea and vomiting. The safety data sheet, the SDS, is a category 4 hazard. So it's higher than the magnet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh.
So if you have acute toxicity, which means you've had long-term exposure, it's harmful if swallowed. Avoid breathing the dust. So when you're making this, don't breathe while you're making the slime kit because you'll inhale the dust. And it can be absorbed through the skin. So while you're mixing it, wear gloves.
Or just don't touch it. Do it telekinesis style and without breathing.
And don't pass out. And don't pass out because you'll face plant in it and then you'll really get it.
And then you're really in trouble.
Then you're really in trouble. Here are the side effects of excess boron toxicity. Blue-green discoloration of the feces.
What? You have blue-green poop?
Yep.
That's actually kind of cool. It's like slime for your poop.
It's like those 90s Gatorade commercial. You're sweating blue, but now you're just like pooing blue.
And
Yep.
those,
You're feeling
so
it.
then now you have blue toilet water.
Oh, fun.
Without cleaner. You could have dermatitis, which is an infection on the skin, diarrhea, upper abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. Rare side effects are renal impairment, which means that your kidneys shut down.
I was like, what's that mean?
It means your
kidneys are
kidneys
gonna
shut down, which means you can't filter all the toxins in your body and you go on dialysis.
Oh, fun.
Oh my God.
So let's play with slime.
I never do slime kits, but that's just because I don't want it on everything. So I'm like, no, mommy's not going to have that in our house. Now I can be like, no, because it's poisonous. So, but why is not a thing in our house anymore. Just eliminated that. Well, because it will poison you, sweetheart.
Because I love you too much for you to have renal failure.
Or blue poop. I'm pretty sure
I don't know. Some kids would really like to have blue poop just so they can go, oh, look, it's blue.
Right, exactly. The joy.
And then
It's
they
like
end
eating-
up having diarrhea.
It's like eating glitter, just so your poop will glitter.
Science doesn't add up there, Mom.
Sure it does. The glitter is non-digestible. It passes through like corn.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to do a second pass on a playroom. God.
All right, you guys. Yay. Okay. All right, Mom. Let's hear the next one.
Okay, toy number 4 is children's jewelry.
Oh.
Yes.
Great.
The
Oh,
Washington.
wait,
Yes,
I
I
don't
know.
know.
Because this is the one, Bethany, that I exposed you to. And I am completely sorry that your mother was uninformed and apparently really stupid.
What the heck is happening right now?
The Washington Attorney General found that jewelry above the 40 parts per million of cadmium was found in the cheaper jewelry. Now, this is the jewelry that you got in little packages, and you probably had 5 or 6 little rings in it, or it had 5 or 6 little bracelets in it. And the cadmium, like lead, is a cheaper metal. So then they put that in there, and then they plate it with a little bit of gold or a little bit of silver or a little bit of copper or sometimes a little bit of nickel. But that wears off. And so here you're wearing these rings or in this bracelet or these earrings, and you are getting cadmium in your bloodstream.
Mom, are you referring to, I'm trying to picture what you're talking about. Are you referring to, like, remember when we'd go to, like, restaurants and they had the little quarters? You could put the quarters in and you turn it and it's in a plastic ball and you'd get, like, jewelry.
Yes. Or it could be jewelry that you got at Dollar General I don't want to say any names, but in the smaller stores that have really inexpensive jewelry that people buy to give their kids because they lose them all the time. So buy the cheaper kind.
What about the jewelry that comes with outfits that you buy at like Walmart?
Yes,
Exactly.
that as well.
Hold on, we need to pause this. I need to go to my kids' room right now. They have a whole...
I was just saying that. I got a whole bucket of junk to throw out now. In my head, that's literally what I'm doing is an internal inventory of, well, that's all thrown away. Plus, not only that, but like Carter's and stuff sells those kits that have like actual sort of jewelry, but it's the same thing.
Yes.
So what is cadmium?
Okay, cadmium is another element.
Oh,
See?
damn it.
It's another element, and it's a metal. Okay, so when we talk about elements, we have metals and we have non-metals, and then we have the metalloids, which can be either metal or non-metal. They act either way, and then we have the noble gases. So when we talk about elements, metals are the ones that are usually harder. They're not soft.
Okay.
And they usually will conduct electricity, like copper and gold and silver. I mean, those are all metals. Okay. Platinum is another metal. All right. Cadmium is a metal, but it's not as expensive as those other metals that I mentioned before.
Is it more accessible? Is that why it's not?
No, just cheaper.
Yeah.
Just cheap. Okay.
Just cheaper. Okay. So cadmium metal in contact with wood or other surfaces may leave traces of cadmium that accumulate over time. So if you put these in a wooden jewelry box,
oh, great.
then that cadmium can leach into the wood over time.
Does it latch onto your other jewelry?
It can, but you can wipe it off the good jewelry. Okay. So a chronic exposure, so this is long-term exposure, is associated with GI symptoms. That means diarrhea, cramping, that kind of thing. Pulmonary edema.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Pulmonary edema is the lung. Pulmonary is the lungs, and edema are blood clots in the lungs. Okay. And kidney malfunction. So back to the renal malfunction, and increased excretion, which means you pee more.
I thought it was...
Yay.
Okay. If you ingest these, because we know no child is going to swallow a ring or a bracelet, or a bracelet.
We can put it in our mouth, though, and play with it.
I know. Ingestion of this cadmium can cause salivation, choking, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Upset stomach. I'm
not sure
God.
Pepto-Bismol is going to counter the cadmium, but
I don't believe that jingle includes heavy metal toxicity, but I don't know. I may not have caught that in one of those symptoms.
It doesn't really go with the ringing, like the jingle. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't go with the rhymes. No. Okay. Here's the thing that scared me the most, because as a scientist, this is kind of freaky for me. Cadmium is a bioaccumulator. What that means is that it goes into the body and it doesn't come out.
Oh.
Yay.
Which means that it gets stored in the fatty tissues, and the liver has some fatty tissue around it, and the kidneys have fatty tissue around it. And so it gets stored in these areas, and it doesn't go away. And so the more exposure you have to it, the more you're going to have buildup in your body. DDT was a bioaccumulator. DDT was an insecticide that they used in the 50s and 60s to kill the mosquitoes. And they were literally spraying DDT on people who were eating their food in the park. They were on the kids who were in the pool. They were just spraying it everywhere because it would kill the mosquitoes. This accumulation of DDT into our environment is what led to the near extinction of the bald eagle in the United States, because the DDT built up into their system because it was being sprayed into the water. They eat the fish in there. The fish are eating things that builds up in their system. And so now the bald eagles are getting this buildup of DDT in their system. And when they would lay their eggs, their shell of the egg was not hard. So when they would go to roost on the eggs to incubate them, it would crush the eggs. And there's nothing, once it's in the system, you can't get rid of it. So what they were doing for the bald eagle is once the eggs were laid, they would actually go in and have somebody climb up to the cliff or the top of the tree, and they would pull the eggs out, and they would take them to a sanctuary, and they would incubate them, and they would raise these bald eagles without human contact. So they had puppets that looked like the mother beak, and they were feeding these baby bald eagles, and then when they got big enough, they would release them back into the wild, and they then would not have the DDT. So because of that effort, the bald eagle population has returned and is now off the endangered species list. I mean, threatened list. It's now
corporate America literally killing the symbol of America. Boy, that is the most American thing I have heard all day.
The problem is that even though we've outlawed DDT, there are still plenty of countries who have not. So it's still being added to our system or to the environment.
It's just not coming in, which I'm not saying is okay. Oh, at least it's
yay for bioaccumulators. Yep. Hip, hip, hooray. And now you can eat another one straight out of your children's jewelry.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying that no matter what you do, once it's in there, it's there.
Yes.
You know, you said it attaches to the fatty cells. What if you get rid of all your fat? I don't know.
Then it's just floating around.
Not possible.
I know. I guess I'm just trying to be hopeful. It literally, like, there's no hope of getting it out whatsoever.
Nope. They also here's the next kicker for this cheap jewelry. They also found the highest amount of lead, and if they didn't use cadmium, they used the lead. And we were about what lead does. Jesus. And they were found in charms. You remember when you were little, Bethany, and you would get those tennis shoes and they had the little charms on the shoe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Cheap keychains. And so sometimes we buy a cheap keychain to put a spare key on, and then we're handling that and we're absorbing that cadmium or lead into our system.
I'm pretty sure I kept those charms off my tennis shoes for the longest freaking time.
You played with them.
God.
Good. You were just getting a little bit of lead poisoning. That's okay.
Like I said, Bethany, I apologize as your mother because I did not think about the exposure that you would have had to this jewelry that we were buying you because, oh yes, you loved jewelry even then, and you were constantly wearing jewelry. Now, when you wore your grandmother's jewelry or you wore my jewelry, you were fine because we didn't buy the El Cheapo kind. But when we bought you your own jewelry that you continually lost, which is why we bought the cheap stuff, I'm sorry that I exposed you to these toxics.
I know
you were just sucking down some cadmium and some lead, and that's okay, Yeah. America.
Yep.
What's crazy is that, Jessica, you have Raylan, who's younger than the girls, but still, even at age 9, for the girls that I have, I'm buying them the cheapo jewelry. Why? Because they don't take care of it. Of course. Why would I buy expensive stuff? But not anymore.
Glass bead one, Bethany.
What?
Buy the glass bead.
The glass bead?
Beads.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Why did I forget about that?
There you go. Okay,
that's what we're doing now.
We're going to finish this up. The New York Times on September 29th, 2007, on 2 cases where children swallowed jewelry containing lead. A 4-year-old boy died of lead poisoning from swallowing a charm on a pair of shoes.
Oh my gosh.
A 5-year-old girl ate a part of an ankle bracelet and she lived with treatment. Her blood levels were 79 micrograms per deciliter.
I don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
That means it's really high.
What was the if she was the little boy's level?
They didn't. Oh, his was 180 micrograms per deciliter, and he died.
Well, I hope so. I mean,
the thing is that these little charms, because of the way the small intestine is all coiled up inside, those little pieces get stuck in those folds and they just sit there, and then the body just breaks it down and pushes all that metal into your bloodstream.
Damn.
Because it doesn't always pass through.
Probably slowly too.
Yes. And they have no idea until, and they don't, it's not something they test for, because we already talked about they don't test for lead. They certainly don't test for cadmium. And so because they don't test for it, they don't know that's what's happening.
And so, and of course, when you've got a 4-year-old boy, he's not going to be like, oh, mommy, I swallowed a charm and that's why I'm doing this. They're probably just like, what's going on? What's happening?
And the same thing happens with the batteries that for kids' toys, at which now most of the toys, they have a little screw that holds the back plate in so you can't pop the battery out easily. And the magnets, I mean, they're swallowing this stuff when you're sitting there and you don't even notice that they put it in their mouth and swallow it.
Heck no. Half the
How
time.
many times did you sneak a cookie and I didn't even know it?
I ain't telling you that. I'm not disclosing that information. Are you crazy?
Or Reese's peanut butter miniature cups.
She refuses to answer on the grounds that it may incriminate her.
There you go. Okay, the next toy I want to talk about is something that I played with as a kid. And it was fascinating when I did this research. And it's the candy cigarettes.
What?
Man, I loved those things.
These
Did you
were
work those?
Oh, I played with them constantly because my grandfather smoked and all of his friends smoked. So when he was smoking, we'd go to the candy store, we'd buy a package of these cigarettes, and we would pretend to be smoking when they were smoking.
I did that in the 90s, Bethany. They didn't get rid of those until the late 90s.
Jessica, I tried, but my mother ripped me a new one whenever I did it. Little did I know she did it herself.
Okay, Bethany, are we going to talk about every time I'd get in your car and there'd be a package of cigarettes sitting on your purse and I'd say, are these yours? And you go, oh no, they're so-and-so's. What did I do to your cigarettes?
I was 18. We're talking about candy cigarettes, okay?
I crumpled the package and I set them back in her purse and she goes, oh, well, she's going to be mad at me. And I went, okay, she can be mad at me. I knew whose cigarettes they were, child.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
But here's the reason I brought that up. Because these stupid chalky mint cigarettes that tasted like eating sidewalk chalk had a little on one end to represent the filter, and then a little red on the other end to represent that the thing was on fire. Okay? The Preventive Medicine completed a survey with 25,887 adults by the Harris Poll, which that's a big polling company. 22% of current or former smokers consumed these candy cigarettes.
Oh, wow.
14% of the adults who never smoked had eaten this or played with these cigarettes. So 14% of the people that never smoked, and I'm one of that 14% because I've never smoked and I've never done any of that. So 14% of the adults who never smoked played with these. 22% of the people who smoked said they played with them as a child.
As Jessica's as she's smoking a cigar.
As I'm smoking, going, I loved candy cigarettes.
And here
as I'm smoking a cigar.
And I never did candy cigarettes, but yet I did. But I only experimented because there were people around me that were, that kind of thing. But it didn't last for long. Obviously, since I'm an asthmatic.
Oh, you don't say. Like me? Like me, for example? Those kind of people that were around you when you were 18?
Jonathan Klein of the University of Rochester, he made a statement. These are marketing and advertising tools that desensitize kids to the idea of smoking. Citing the study above, Klein states the continued existence of these products helps promote smoking as as culturally and socially acceptable activity.
Huh.
Philip Morris, big cigarette company, has a statement.
Of course they do.
Of course they do.
The poll. Now, this was their response to the poll, because these candy cigarettes, when the packages came out, were designed to look like actual packages of cigarettes. And if you compare them to some of the Philip Morris ones, the coloring was the same, the design was the same. They just changed the name slightly. So it wasn't Marlboro cigarettes, but it might have been Marlboro. So they just changed the name slightly, but everything about the package of those cigarettes looked like the real cigarettes.
It's not the same thing. See, there's a letter.
That's right. That's right. So, but here's Philip Morris of USA statement. There are features and brochures. The company has a youth smoking prevention program. Features, brochures, and materials on the company website to help parents talk to their kids about the hazards of smoking. This is the next statement that cracked me up. We don't want kids to smoke. Lie.
Liar!
Yeah.
You're a liar!
Yeah. Of course they don't.
Next
Wink,
statement.
wink, wink.
Next statement, we do not use fruit or candy flavor labels to market any of our tobacco products. Lie, because the cigars still have them, even though they've taken it out of the cigarettes. That's a
They do. I'm smoking one right now.
like they have birthday cake cigars, and they have candy cigars, and it's like the kids see this and they go, "Oh, it's going to taste like birthday cake."
To go, ooh, this is gonna taste like birthday cake instead of lung cancer.
This one's hitting close to home because I'm just a walking, talking advertisement right now for the dangers of candy cigarettes.
These are glorified cancer sticks dressed up to look like a cake.
Great.
Make it look like a cake. So let's just give everybody cancer. Oh, while they're pretending to eat cake.
Yay! Let them eat cake. Let them eat cancer.
Let them.
According to Robin Lloyd, the leading preventable cause of disease and death in the United States is lung cancer. Most smokers start before the age of 18, and right now it's not even legal now until you're 21. But when you were young, 18 you could buy the cigarettes.
18 was tobacco and lottery and voting.
Yes.
I was knocking those bad boys down at 16, though. And so there we are.
Yeah. Okay. Females are more likely to use the candy cigarettes than the males. These products have been restricted or banned in Canada, United Kingdom, Finland, Norway, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. I can see Kuwait and Saudi Arabia because they don't want they don't like their population to smoke.
Right.
Okay, bans have been proposed in several U.S. states. Only North Dakota passed the ban, but then it was repealed in 1967.
Wow. What was the fucking point? God.
Okay, right now it's up to the retailers to ban the sale of these products. And the only one that I found that has banned the sale of this product is Walmart.
What?
Wow. Well, good for Walmart.
Say all the bad things you want about Walmart. At least they've done one thing right.
So you could go into Target, your upscale Target, and go in and find.
Depends on the store manager, but yes.
Interesting.
And you can buy them online because I went online to see, and you can buy them online. Whole cartons of them.
Buy anything online. At this point.
I'm not really surprised in 67 you got that repealed, though. I mean, not too many years earlier, you got LBJ peeing on the White House lawn. So, like, what's a candy cigarette? It's a 60s. Let's have fun. LBJ's pissing on the White House lawn. We've got everything going down in Vietnam. Like, what's a candy cigarette, America?
I will say that in 1967, I was a young child. Or, well, I was let's see, I would have been 8 or 9. So I would have been Brighton's age. I'd have been Brighton's age. And we could still go down to the local little mom and pop store at the end of the street where my grandfather lived, and we could buy the candy cigarettes, and we bought them all the time. I will tell you, they tasted horrible. They tasted like you were eating sidewalk chalk. They tasted worse than eating Rolaids.
Yeah, I would rather eat a package at Tums
than those candy cigarettes. And I hate those too. Yes. Okay. Are we done with the candy cigarettes and banging on Jessica for her smoking?
And having a go at me for my smoking? Yes.
Yep. Okay. So we'll go on to toy number 6, which is the Kinder toy.
My gosh, no, because my kid eats these egg deals all the time.
Well, now I will say that when I started this research, I thought the ones that we buy here in the United States were this toy. And it's similar, but not the same. Okay. Because the Kinder toy was that same egg shape made by the same company, and it began in 1968 when they started making it, and it was a small Italian town named Alba. So that's where this company started, and it was a Kinder chocolate. That was the name of the store that started making it, and they became famous to the Fiero company. So, which remains still a family company today. And they made these toys, and what they did was they had this candy, this fudgy candy in the inside of the egg, and embedded in this fudgy filling was a toy. And so that's why it was called Kinder Toy, because the Kinder company was making these little plastic eggs and filling them full of fudgy goodness, and then inside of there would be this toy. In January 21st of 2006, a 3-year-old child in France died after choking on a toy from the inside of the Kinder Surprise.
Surprise! You're done.
Yes, and now
the
company did say that on the packaging it says 3 years and up, and she was 3, but you have to kind of, as a parent, be able to judge whether your child has the ability to separate food from toy.
Or, they could have grabbed it in the 3 milliseconds it took for you to turn around.
Or you were in the car or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Understandable.
Okay, now they did an autopsy on this little girl to determine what the cause of death was, because that's going to make a difference in any lawsuits that are out there. And they determined that she died from a mechanical asphyxiation, which means that the toy blocked her airway and she suffocated.
Dang.
Yep, no way to get around that one.
Yeah. Now here's the company line. That's the difference between the Kinder. We have Kinder Joy here in the United States, and they have Kinder Surprise. And the Kinder Surprise toys are designed and developed with safety in mind, rigorously observing international regulations, as well as extra safety criteria voluntarily adopted by the Fiero Group. Okay, that's the company line. So in 2000, 3 families that lost children to choking on toys from the inside of Kinder Candy campaigned to have the product removed from the EU. 10 children reported died from choking on the small toys in the Kinder Candy.
Wait, is that after they started doing?
Oh yes, this was in 2000. Before the 6 years. So there were 10 children that reported died prior to 2006.
Oh wow.
The House of Commons, which is their governmental body in Europe, had a response to this campaign to get them eliminated from the market. The child's death was caused by the ingestion of a small part of the egg's contents. Many other products and toys with small parts are available in the marketplace. if we were to start banning every product that could be swallowed by a child, there would be very few toys left in the market.
Oh my God.
And you say party line.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's insensitive at best.
Yes, and remember that in Europe and Canada, these toys are embedded in the food itself.
Yeah.
So you actually have to eat the food around the candy, around the toy before, and if you just put the whole thing in your mouth, then that's when the problem comes about.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, because here they're packaged on the separate side of the egg in the U.S.
And that's what I was going to get to. The Federal Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act in the United States bans the sale of any candy that is embedded in it a toy or a trinket. So no candy can have a toy embedded in the food itself. The 1997 Child Protection Service thing issued a recall for some Kinder Surprise illegally brought into the U.S. from Canada. A Manitoba resident with one egg was threatened with $300 Canadian fine because he tried to bring some into the United States to give to his nieces when he came in, and it was $300 per egg, and I believe he had 12 eggs.
Shit.
Oh.
Joseph Cummings of Seattle, Washington, was quoted the potential fine for bringing in eggs from Canada as $2,500 per egg, and he had 6 of them from his trip to Canada.
Yikes. I don't know math, but that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. In 2012, the FDA reissued an important alert claiming it may pose a public health risk due to consumers choking.
Well, no shit.
Okay, so Kinder Joy, which is the one that we sell in the United States, as Jessica said, is different than what they sell in Europe and in Canada, because when you open the egg, I even bought one to see what it was like. I mean, I don't buy these. By the way, that candy in there tastes like poo.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's got this waxy, it coats your tongue, and I couldn't even, I had to go brush my teeth to get off my tongue. It's like, how are these kids eating this? It's gross.
You could spread it with a wall trowel and brick a house with that. Yeah, 110%.
I think so, but you know what? It'd be pretty expensive because these things are like $3 a piece almost.
Yes, they are.
So they're very expensive, and I mean, like I said, I bought one, and I thought, well, I'm going to try. I'm doing research, I'm a scientist, so I'm going to buy one, and I opened it up, and I go, oh look here, and you have 2 little plastic seals on each side. So I opened the first one, and that was the candy side, and you get this little scoop thing, and so I scooped it up, and I put it in my mouth, and then it was like, it's like. Yeah. Couldn't eat it. So then I opened the other side. It was 2 little plastic pieces that you put it together, and it made a monster with a mask on. So it's only about just like this big, and it's like they're little, and it's like, okay, for $3, I think I could go find some Play-Doh canister, and I'd have a whole lot more fun with the Play-Doh.
Amen.
And it's not.
This is why anytime I see them, I cover my kids' eyes and we run down the aisle. I'm like, nope, you did not see those. They don't have them here. They're all gone. Oh.
All right. So that's been the 6 types of toys I wanted to talk about. But I think the thing that was the most scary for me was the heavy metals in the children's jewelry. Mostly because as a parent, I tried to make the environment in which my children grew up as safe as possible. I mean, when we had plastic zippered covers on their mattresses, so they weren't exposed to dust mites and dust mite feces in the mattresses. I mean, we duct taped those on so that there was nothing coming out of the mattresses. And when we would change the sheets, I would go in with the Clorox and I would wipe everything down all the way around. So, I tried to be as conscientious as possible. But when you have products coming in and you don't think about it, or you get them as gifts, then it's like it doesn't even register that what they're bringing is subpar material. And so I feel like that I have failed my children because I'm a fairly educated person, and I didn't have my master's when the girls were little, but I'm a fairly educated person, and it didn't even cross my mind. And to me, I think that is the hardest thing. So
I don't blame you, Mom. I don't blame you for my diarrhea, okay? I don't.
No, but I'm about to go rake through my kids' room after this. Buy fake jewelry.
And don't put it in to give to Goodwill. Throw it away.
Throw it away.
Okay. At the beginning of this, I talked about the 13 deaths that were reported in 2017. Most of them, 11 of them, were not anything that I covered today.
Oh, wow.
They were, the 11 of these were on toys in which the kids could ride. So either they were pedaling or it was motor powered. And the reason they died wasn't because of the toy itself, but because they were hit by a car while they were riding this toy.
Oh,
and
yes.
So I made the conscious decision not to cover this, because who do you blame? I can't in good conscience blame the parent of the child, because like Bethany said, all it takes is a microsecond, and the kid's in the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though you repeatedly say, stay on the sidewalk, do not cross the street, stay on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter. It takes that microsecond. And
so, but nobody's to like blame for that. That's not a manufacturing issue or FDA issue.
And they say wear a helmet. Okay, but when you're talking about a little kid and it's battling against an automobile, there's no way, even with a helmet, your kid is going to win.
Yeah. And actually, as a person that has, unfortunately, I was in a drive-through downtown Salina. It just so happened that the way the drive-through was set up, when I pulled out, there's a sidewalk that goes right across it. And luckily, I want to say luckily, because it was an adult, not a child. When I pulled out, I wasn't going very fast. Obviously, I was just coming from a drive-through position, but it was just enough to, clip the back of his wheel or the back of his bicycle, and he fell. I mean, he didn't go flying, but he fell over. He fell over, and it was one of those things where it was like there was no way for me to see around to get out, but yet I was at fault, and I took responsibility because I know that it could have been worse, or it could have been even worse with a child in fact, right then and there. So, I mean,
right.
If you can't blame the parent because of that microsecond of looking away, and you can't blame the manufacturer, then the only other person is to blame the driver. But here's the problem. Those little kids are below your bumper. You can't always see these little kids. Now, they do have some in the newer cars where they have cameras back there, so you can look and see. But these kids are going so fast. Think, Bethany, how fast you were riding your bicycle around Grandma's block.
Heck yeah, with my feet off the pedals, I would pedal so fast.
Oh, your hands off the handlebars?
No.
Exactly, but at the end of the day, it's not the toys issue, because those kids just could have easily been walking or just walked behind the car. Same thing, but it's not a toy issue. It's not like it's full of toxic heavy metals and we're just allowing it into our country to be mass marketed.
There was one that you're going to like, Jessica, because I was looking at the motorized vehicles that kids get, not the big ones that for adults that kids ride in, but the ones designed for little kids.
Little cars.
Yeah, the little cars or the little Jeep or whatever. There's some of them, and this was the Barbie dream car one that was being specifically talked about in the article. But apparently when they would put their foot on the brake to stop the car, there was electrical issues and it would catch fire.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
Break or burn.
goody.
Yeah. So either break
Wow.
and burn or just run into things.
Goody.
Bethany would choose run into
Yay.
things. This is the way she drove when she was a teenager. And other cars, the curb.
No.
But, you know, I totally get why you didn't include those, because I wouldn't have included those. Those aren't the really interesting one. Those aren't like issues that we clearly have importing things into this country with God knows what inside of it.
Right. But
So-
it is what has most of the child deaths. And so when I was researching and I go, oh my gosh, look at all these deaths. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to talk about that because I am not going to stand here and be preachy like, oh, well, you know, my child never did this and my child never got to do that. I got news for them. My children did do that. They weren't in the motorized vehicles because that wasn't a big thing when they were little, but they rode their bikes and they were not being careful and they wouldn't always wear their helmet. And even though I said, wear your helmet, wear shoes. Nope, we're going to ride barefoot.
Yeah, exactly. But I do have to say, because I do it as a parent myself, I buy all of these things and I assume that they've been safety tested. Like, we don't do slime, but that's because I'm a neat freak. But what if we had? You know, I know kids that are making these things out of these kits every single day and think what they're putting into their bodies.
I will tell you that I bought 2 of the slime kits for Christmas this year, but because of this in research that I did, I looked at the ingredients to make sure that borax was, because when they list ingredients on anything, food, doesn't matter, they list them by concentration amount. So whatever is the first thing has the highest amount of concentration and it goes down from there. So I made sure, because there's always going to be boron or borax, it's same process. To make the slime, and I made sure it was way down on the list to make so that it would reduce their toxicity, because that's what they wanted. They wanted slime. And my oldest granddaughter, she loves making slime.
Yeah. But yeah, we can't just like assume this stuff because obviously, you know.
Yeah. And I would like to say one more thing just about parents turning your back and your kids doing really dangerous, silly things. And it's about Miss Bethany.
No.
Yes, I'm going to tell a Bethany story.
Yeah.
Yay! Tell them.
Bethany was not quite a year old, and it was July, and it was very hot.
Oh, God, no.
She and her sister were outside playing in the backyard, and I had been sitting on the back step watching them play. Bethany is only in a diaper, and Ashley's running around in shorts, no top, because it's hot. We have a metal swing set that her grandfather bought Ashley when she was little. So they're playing on the swing set. The phone rings. I step into the kitchen, and it has a long cord. So I step into the kitchen and I grab the phone and I go back to the back door, and I'm watching the kids play. And I'm talking to her grandmother on the phone. And all of a sudden I'm looking for Bethany because I can't find Bethany. And so I said, hang on a minute, I can't find Bethany. So I stop talking to her grandmother and I start looking, and I find Bethany sitting at the top of the metal slipper slide, butt naked on this metal slide in 100-degree weather. I said, call you back later, dropped the phone, went out the door, caught her before she burned her butt all the way down the slide. All it is a second to turn away, and your kid is going to do something weird.
Yeah. And you know what? We've not gotten any more normal with age.
No, I'm soon to be 60, and I'm still just as weird as always. Ask any of my students in my classroom, because I tell the stupidest jokes and they go, Miss Nicholson, you're just weird. Yes, I know. And I
will wear that honor and proud.
I said, not only do you think I'm weird, but my children think I'm weird. So it's okay.
Well,
I know you think I
this has been an amazing body count. And for the holidays, we're sharing our families with you guys. So it has been so much fun. Terry, thank you for being on our show and telling us.
By the way, our body count was 6.
6.
Woo! That's a bunch. That's a bunch. Hey, but at least we're getting better, America. We did not have any tiny do-it-yourself nuclear explosion kits this time. Right. So step in the right direction.
I'm kind of like you, Jess. I want one.
But I want one. I do want one, right? I mean, like, after I play with it, I know it's got to be buried in a lead-lined box, which, again, as we've proved, comes with its own problems in and of itself. But still, you know, do-it-yourself cloud kit sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yep. Actually, after the first Killer Toys, Mom called me. She was like, I have the CSI investigation kit. And I didn't order that asbestos because it was too expensive. I made my own.
I made my own.
I use cocoa powder. I use cocoa powder as the dust to show the fingerprints because that little thing was very expensive to get replacements. And I had 30 students and I wasn't going to do that. So I just used cocoa powder.
There we go. Manufacturers.
You don't have to kill your customers.
You don't have to kill the consumer base, folks. Although I do. And again, if you guys have not listened to Killer Toys Part 1, go back and give that a listen as well. There was a do-it-yourself nuclear science kit in which you could make a tiny little nuclear explosion in a box and watch your own tiny little mushroom cloud erupt. And see, I want that as an adult just to, you know, play with safely and scream, I'm Robert Oppenheimer. As I'm like, I am the Manhattan Project.
Here I come.
Right? You just hear me screaming lines from Dr. Strangelove, just being weird outside. That would be the mean thing to do. So, again, we are thrilled to have had Bethany's mother tell us a story on this special pre-Christmas family coming together edition of Body Count. And again, had fun with Killer Toys, which has been a big hit. So, we're very excited to do part 2. Now, I'm going to assume, Terry, you're not going to want to plug social media unless you want to.
Well, I'm on Facebook, but I'm like Bethany. I do more scrolling and I have students on there. I don't do Instagram. I don't do Snapchat. So that's me. I'm old. I don't like those things.
You're not missing anything. You're not missing a thing at all based on somebody who has spent a lot of their day already tweeting and retweeting and liking and doing everything else. That being said, you can listen to this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts, literally anywhere. We're going to get a link tree, guys. I'm going to do that hopefully tonight, so it'll be a lot easier to find everywhere you can listen on social media. You can listen at bodycounthistorypod.com. That's a really easy way to find us. It's there for everybody to hear. You can follow the show at bodycountpod on both Twitter and Instagram. Now, Bethany, where do people follow you personally?
Okay, you can follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at Bethany Skelton 5, the number 5. Now, I do have a Facebook, but it's mainly for, personal, family, business, and Snapchat, honestly, I barely use. So that's the main things.
Well, look at you, Kylie Jenner. Why don't you just kill their entire stock right now? You can follow me at Jessica B. Manor on Instagram and Twitter. That's a great way to contact us. And also on there, you're going to be able to find my email for the show. If you like, or as is usually the case, most of you don't like something, I know you'll let me know. I know that for a fact because I love it. I love it so much. So that's going to do it for us this week. Again, thank you so much, Cherry, for coming on.
You're very welcome.
And also teaching us a little bit about chemistry because we're both in the dark. We'd have been like, what is this? I assume it's some kind of, I don't know, metal. Sure, why not? That would have been our follow-up. We don't know. But we are going to try to squeeze out a Christmas episode. And then again, we will be back with parts 3, 4, and God help me, maybe even part 5 of Nancy Wake in the new year. I dove too deep, folks. I went too deep. It happens. So we appreciate you guys. Everybody be safe as we go into the holiday season. And we will be back at you next week. Bye.
Bye.